Welcome to the 90th most popular podcast in the universe. I got a piano. They paid me to take it away. And I did something I always wanted to do. I learned Bach's Goldberg aria. And I'm going to play it for you. All right, here's the show.
Where's my notes?
This is the Cameron Adair podcast with me, Cameron Adair. This is episode 28. Today on the show is Spencer, Keeton, Cunningham, Returns. This is part 3 of a 3-part series where Spencer hit me up a couple weeks ago and suggested we do a phone episode, which we did, and it turned into many hours of relevant, cultural, artistic, conceptual, theoretical, existential discourse. We did this right after the one with Erlen, so I am so wiped out. Spencer's on his phone from his studio in San Francisco. I'm in my recording studio in Echo Park. Here's Spencer.
Yo, Cam?
Yeah.
Hey, I just got your message, man. I just missed a call from Erlen as well. I was about to call him back.
We just recorded.
You and Erlen?
Yep.
Dope. Okay, so you did it.
Yeah, we just did it. Yeah.
That's cool. Did you wait? So then you don't want to do the 3-way thing, right?
I mean, we could. We just talked for like 2 hours, so I think we're both.
Oh, jeez, man. Dude, you should just take a break now. Let's not do mine right now, dude. You're gonna. That's crazy.
I'm rolling right now, though. The phone. I just plugged the phone in.
Yeah, I mean, 2 hours is a lot of time, dude. I mean,
Yeah, my head is spinning. Yep.
You should just chill, man, and just not try to do another one right now, dude. That's crazy.
This is fun with the phone. I got your car ride in and out. That's definitely going in.
Oh, dope. Let's record some music, man. I doubt it would come in with much quality through a speaker. Check it out. We'll do a test. Part of this bass. You probably can't hear the bass. So I'll play it for a second. I thought it would be funny if the audio came in at all. So just try to get Erlen to a song on top of the instrumental while it's playing through the phone. It'd be like first ever song recorded through phone.
Like freestyle over it?
Yeah, well, whenever I call Erlen, he's always just like singing a new song to me or something like that. It's just like half song, half talk.
Hey man, if you guys want to put on a performance, I'll document it.
I'm down, dude. Yeah, well, I'm down. But you guys just talked for hella long.
Yeah.
So he's probably taking care of his 3 babies.
Yeah, actually, that's exactly what he was doing.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do a part 3.
Yeah, we could do one when you've got some time to relax and stuff.
It'll be a 6-hour.
Dude, that's insane. Let's release a 6-hour podcast.
It'd be an endurance podcast.
It's like the time capsule.
It's all
Check it
good.
out.
Yeah, I've been up since really early.
And I made another song. Do it. Listen, this one's hella scratching. Most people don't know I used to be like a scratch DJ. I used to like open up for hip hop acts back in the day and stuff.
Oh,
I was
yeah?
making a weird. I hadn't scratched for a long time.
Could you juggle?
When I was younger and stuff. Wait, and then check out this. Listen to this beat I just went. I don't know if you can hear that at all.
Yeah, I got it.
It's like Moog. Moog, as some people say, when I say Moog, with a bass guitar drum. Are you recording that?
Yeah.
Okay. I went out into the middle of nowhere above Albany, California, and I found all these like dry, grassy hills. And I found these horses, and I just like laid down a big canvas and just painted these horses. Painted like orange horses.
Man, that sounds like a nice day.
In the hot sun, the horses were like covered in flies and stuff. And then this guy came and like unloaded all these cattle into the truck. But it was just like a public space, but it was just like his cattle, his horses. I was like, "These are your horses?" He's like, "Let me see what you're painting there." It's just like I like to go out and paint animals sometimes. It's like stuff that a lot of people don't see of my work. I just go out and, I don't like to support zoos, but I'll go to like the edge of a zoo where you can peer in and see these like African animals like super out of place in San Francisco, and I'll draw them or paint them sketches.
Isn't there a racetrack over there?
I don't know.
Emery, it's like by Emeryville.
Yeah, Emeryville. I think. Yeah, there is. There's one where it's like people gamble. I've never been
in Albany.
Yeah, it's close to there. I think definitely. It's on the other side of the freeway. I think. Yeah, there's this dog that ran up at the horses, and I was trying to help this old lady because the dog was like running under the horse's feet, and the horses were kicking back, like narrowly missing its head. And the lady seemed kind of not concerned. I said, if that horse kicks the dog in the head, it's dead. It's straight up. And the dog had this black veil over its head, like almost like this weird space helmet veil, and it was just running, and the horses were just like about to kick its head off. And luckily, no dogs were murdered, but painted these peaceful yet potentially violent horses. That's
nice.
what I did. That's all I'll say for this recording. Don't get under a horse's foot.
That sounds nice. My days are a little more stressful than that, I gotta admit.
Dude, I know. It's hard actually to find a fucking place that's just, there's no people. I sometimes have to do that. I go someplace where there's no people. You just kind of try to do that once a day. And that's really hard to do nowadays, but it's just like a peaceful place where there's not just a bunch of crazy sounds. You can be sounds, but there's just not like traffic, people coming like, what are you doing? What are you doing? It's hard, dude. I was driving through LA recently, like where you live, and I was meeting with an artist named The Grouch. I just did his album cover. He's a rapper from Oakland, from a group called The Living Legends.
I know that, but the listeners may not.
And then while I was leaving, I got the album and all that, just the copies of it. I was leaving LA, I was like just kind of stuck, and I was like, fuck, where do I go? I just started going like up into the hills. I just drove like up into the desert, like in these really bizarre fucking small towns. Some of them were pretty fucking weird, and it's like way up there. I think near like Rancho Cucamonga or whatever the fuck you say that. But further and further and further, I just like detoured the entire LA area in the desert. I just did not drive through LA.
The San Gabriel Valley, or whatever the valley is, it just keeps going and going until you're just in Barstow or some shit, Oh,
I went through Barstow, yeah. I went through that just recently.
I've never done that, the Vegas drive from LA.
Oh yeah, I saw the sign you can cut over for Vegas.
People go to Palm Springs out here, and that was a whole new thing to me.
Yeah, I need to be around more water. I don't know if they have much rivers or anything at Palm Springs, but I need to be around a body of water more than just a swimming pool.
There's one town in Loma Linda, deep in the San Gabriel Valley, and I guess it's a blue zone where people have higher life expectancy than anywhere else.
That's crazy.
There's one, I want to say in California, and that's it. It's this tiny town. I've never been there. I have no idea why anyone would be living significantly longer in this weird town in the middle of nowhere.
Radioactivity, Chernobyl stuff.
Yeah, maybe it's a fucking plutonium rod.
Yeah, I was just in this small town called Crockett today. Kind of a weird little old town near part of the bay. And when I was driving back, I don't know if you've seen those things when you're driving above SF. It's like that kind of like factory where at night it like shoots fire into the sky, like bellowing fucking flames and shit. It's this big fucking nasty refinement fucking factory of some sort. But I was like, I wonder if I could film over there. And when you really look at it, you can't get in or out, I think, unless you work there. So I doubt they want people documenting the bizarre. And I don't know if you've seen what I'm talking about.
No, where?
You drive north of SF, north of Albany, right before you get to this town, I believe it's called Crockett. It's on the left side if you're heading north. It's just like this giant factory thing. And at nighttime, when I've driven by it many times up and down I-5, I think it's on 80 actually. It's before you get on that bridge. When you're on 80 and before you get on that like second bridge that goes over that other body of water, it's right before that. And it's just at nighttime, it's just shooting fucking fire into the air. And it's always got smoke or some shit coming out of it. Just, I don't know what they are producing there or what they're refining or how much pollution it gives off, but it looks like a lot.
I have no idea.
Yeah, man, it's pretty creepy looking.
By the Carquinez Bridge. There's so many bridges.
Yeah, if you're on 80, you left Oakland, driving up before you hit that other big bridge where there's a little toll headed north. It's before that on the left.
I remember a long time ago when I was driving home from LA, it was late at night and I was doing one of these middle of the night drive home from college things. And on the 5, there's a couple of those, like on the bottom half of the 5, there's a couple of those weird factories where if it's dark, there's just a bunch of flames shooting in the air. And I remember I drove.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. And I had my camera with me. And I just drove out into this field. And it was a lot farther than it looked. I don't even know what the plant was, but it was just a weird industrial plant made for some cool photos. Flames.
Yeah, I think it's oil or something. I don't know what it is.
I don't know.
Yeah, you see, I saw an interesting thing recently too. It was a bunch, like a huge amount of sheep. Some of them were dying in the heat, and some their legs were injured, and they were kind of near Sunnyvale in a very bizarre, like gated thing, and they were in like kind of boxed in like a refinement factory, partial hills, and then part of the hills were just like the mineral or whatever they had mined, like in a mound, and there was just this kind of like epic landscape of. I recorded the sheep's, like the sounds they make. And some of them sound kind of humanish. They're like, they were dying in the heat, just walking around. I was like, this is so bizarre. There's just nobody around. It's like a freeway kind of thing right next to it, but no one drives on it. They're all fenced in. And the sheep, it's like a good metaphor for people. Sheeple.
Fucking sheeple.
That's actually from an old, I forget the artist that made that. It's like a illustration of a half sheep, half person, sheeple.
Lemmings.
Oh yeah, that was a fun game. I remember that. That was like a Nintendo game, I think.
Same metaphor.
Yeah, you set up blocker lemmings in the game, and then some of them dig holes, and you've got to like get a certain amount of them out of the cave.
Lemmings will follow each other off of a cliff.
Yeah.
Right.
In the game, they pour out of like the sky, and you just instantly like they all start following each other, and they start walking off the cliff, and you like put blocker lemmings up. It's a pretty old video game. I didn't play too many games, but speaking of,
is that
caves,
in Red Dead Redemption?
I don't know what that is. I had like Atari and like the first Sega. It's like Space Harrier.
I know. I want to get my Nintendo back because I sold it when I moved, along with everything else.
You can buy the little consoles nowadays. They're like $50 or something. It's got a bunch of games on it.
Maybe I'll do that if I can ever afford it.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Dude, you've been recording all day, man. You want to just just pause on this? Did you and Erlen have a good conversation?
Yeah, it was really inspiring.
He's a never-ending pool of like knowledge and creativity.
Yeah, you guys make me want to make art again.
Dude, yeah, he's super passionate too, man. And he's telling me the other day, he was like, I was like over in Oakland, and he's like, yo, man, I'm walking down the street carrying a fucking 5 gallons of beef blood, and these 2 women are just getting in like a bare knuckled fist fight with no shoes on. I'm about to make a painting of my cousin with this beef blood. I was like, that's dope. that's getting that beef blood game painting on. I told you about the beef blood painting.
He told me he just re-upped on the plasma.
It's funny because Erlen used to call himself like the Fresh Prince of the Tenderloin. Or he didn't really call himself that, but he made an illustration of that. And now he's like West Philadelphia territory.
Oh shit, that's funny. He used Carlton Banks when he was describing something.
Yeah. Did he sing any songs? Did he make any songs for you? For the recording or anything?
No, I didn't hear any music. No.
Yeah, we've recorded tons of things. I'll send you some old videos. When we first met, he came up to me. He said, hey, are you Spencer? He's like, I just made a spaceship. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. I just made a song, a beat that I called Dance on the Moon. And then I think the first day we met, we made what we called a video painting. But we used to make what we called audio paintings as well, which were just go in there and like record the beat real fast, record the song real fast, and then record the music video right afterwards, edit it right afterwards, and just kind of then relax. It wasn't even music. It was like a performance piece. It wasn't meant to be critiqued in like whether it was good music or bad music. It was just like a raw expression. We made like fucking hundreds of those.
Yeah.
Since like 2007 or something. I don't even know.
I admire that. It's always hard for me to get to that flow state. I'm always taking shit apart and then putting it back together and then planning things out, checking every box.
That's good. I wish I could still do that again.
It doesn't make for a lot of prolific work. I mean, my record only had 9 songs on it, and that thing took me 2 years.
Yeah, it's like editing too, mastering. I mean, it seems like you do a lot of your own stuff with that. Like certain artists, our friend Isaiah Flores, for example, he'll record vocals or he'll record drums or instruments, and he'll like shoot and sculpt every sound and create a fully like mastered version of the song. Or most musicians and most artists will record, and they got to go to a guy to master it. And Isaiah, he'll make stuff really fast and go back and change stuff for days and days and things. Like he edits films. What I do sometimes is I just make stuff so fast. Make like, I think I made like 6 songs last night or 7. Just keep moving on. I found that I can't go back as much, and I don't save any working files or anything I make, and it's all analog, so it's like crappy sound quality. I kind of like it with the old microphones and old buzzing sound. Something's always making a buzzing sound, a wiggle, instrument cables, half plug in it. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, there's a million ways to do it. When I started at that studio in the city all those years ago, it made me just think about making commercial, quote unquote, music and art and what that means. So I kind of stopped screwing around, but I get stuck because sometimes it just seems like too big of a task.
To make it perfect, yeah.
Yeah, because like, okay, you write the song, you demo the song. That's so much work as it is. And then what? Then you go to a big studio and record the song. That seems to be the formula. But there's just so much goddamn work. I mean, you could spend $3,000 for a day at a studio.
Yeah, see, I like when it's more of I grew up on like home recordings, and I like, as far as audio recording, I feel like if I'm good at anything, I'm good at making a gritty texture. I'm good at shaping a sound to make it sound really not professional. It sounds very like it's recorded like 30 years ago. Something about that makes the song what it is, because you'll listen to jazz artists, doing old cover songs of stuff that was recorded on these old mics, but it sounds too clean. The stuff they're recording nowadays, the drums sound too clean, the vocals too clean. I like when music sounds a little bit like dirt. It sounds like a little bit gritty, and it's got little poppy, crackly mics, like it cuts out a little bit. I don't know, I kind of like that. It's like, I like the opposite of what most people are striving to, this perfect, clean, pristine, sterile sounding, rather than like a warm, like I'll record with like a Model D Mini Moog, and that thing is just warm, resonant bass qualities. It's the only instrument that sounds like that, you know?
Yeah.
Synthesizer. Everything.
I have the cheaper version, the Micro Moog.
Yeah, this one's like one of the original Model Ds.
Yours is nice. Yeah.
It makes dogs bark. You can't even like hear what it's playing.
Yeah, yours is super nice. That's good that you held on to it. A lot of people, they'll get intimidated by having something that you know is really valuable sitting around. I'm guilty of doing that. And then you'll sell it. But a good instrument, man, you should never sell a good instrument, especially if you're attached to it.
Yeah, it's monophonic. I mean, so if I want to do chords, if I want to do C or something, one over and over again with some delay, and then go back and record it. The next one on a loop in a loop station.
You got to get a tape echo with it.
Yeah, I got this thing, I think it's called the Tornado or Hurricane. It's just like an old delay. Oh, I literally, when I record instruments, sometimes I plug them filtered into, there's like a huge delay because I'm filtering it through like 4 different effects filters all together. Instead of just all doing like a mixer and doing one at a time, I'll do like the reverb with the chorus one with like a distortion with another one and another one, and then record it into the mixer. So it's going to 5 things before it goes into the mixer and into the tape recorder. I also have a Nagra, which is an old
oh, you have a Nagra? That's sick.
Yeah, I say Nagra. I don't know if it's Nagra or Nagra, but yeah, I used to do a lot of reel-to-reel recordings with did some with Pat Para, and he was stoked at the time. I remember we recorded a song. I always wanted a real recording like this, and it was like the standard for cinema. CIA used it to spy on people.
Yeah, they have little spy-sized Nagras that are rare, but they're a shrunken one that they used to use as like spy equipment, you know, that Interpol would carry around.
Yeah, our friend Isaiah Flores still has my Nagra in his garage, and along with like literally thousands of pieces of my art, like really small pieces of art stored when I was on the road. You walk into his garage music recording studio. It's a museum. He's got, a Rhodes and recording on various different synths and live drums, bass guitar. In my home recording studio, I got a little bit less stuff. I wish I had some drums.
Yeah, I got a drum set. The hardest part, though, is getting your mind in the place where you're working. For me, there's so many distractions. I sit in the studio every day, and the amount of time that I spend actually writing is, I don't know. I feel like I'll get to a point, it might take a year, but then I'll get to a point and a bunch of stuff will get done in like 2 months. And all the rest of the time, you're just kind of housekeeping.
Yeah, you kind of got to let it come to you. I think John Lennon was calling that like it's a diarrhea of creativity.
There you go.
Channel it. You get that when you're driving too sometimes. You get a good song in your head. You go, I don't have the recorder around. You can't hum it, or you can't. Those melodies just kind of like come to you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll hear a melody and you don't want to make it a song. There's no way you can create it the way your mind like first thought of it, or the sounds came to you. You try to recreate it, like you've already forgotten it by the time you try to do that. Erlen makes a lot of music too. He's an artist, but he also does a lot of music. He's got different aliases, Black Sam.
Cool Kid Crayola, right?
Yeah, the Crayola stuff, he's still doing the Crayola. I think Erlen knows. I told him a long time ago, he made these Crayola shirts, Cool Kid Crayola, with his invented art world persona, with his rendition of the blackface that he was putting out there as like a concept. He even got kids. People were wearing his shirt, and it made it all the way to that CNN, the O'Reilly Factor. They were interviewing a Caucasian male wearing the blackface shirt of Erlen's on CNN, and then the little caption under it was like, why we should eliminate San Francisco from the United States, and the Cool Kid Creole shirt was like on CNN. He's sitting there like giving a fucked up like stoner interview wearing this blackface shirt. I was just fucking laughing my ass off.
Oh shit!
I was like, Erlen, you made it to fucking CNN. Yeah, no, it's weird being on TV.
I didn't even put that together because I remember the Cool Kid Creole stuff just from mutual friends and I remember some party at the Elbow Room where he was doing something there, but I didn't realize that was Erlen until like halfway through our conversation.
Oh yeah, that's Erlen. We did tons of art shows together, and people would be really confused because Erlen might not show up to the show in Oakland, and it would be both of our artwork together. And people would be like, "This is your work?" I was like, "No, this is me and Erlen Jaffa." And he did a show called Belly of the Beast. He made a giant fish that you enter into, and there's like a decaying city inside of it, lots of paintings inside. We did a music show inside of that got pretty wild. Yeah, we tried to bring the audio painting thing to some of our exhibits. We did an exhibit called Gentrified, and did one called Archetypes with a $sign as the S. And some of these things, like the Archetypes show, to me was critiquing the tech gentrification. There's like a giant laptop made of cardboard that people entered into with this very elaborate installation, and Erlen had releases on cereal for the art exhibit called Crayola Flakes. So I made like infomercials about Crayola Flakes, and then he made a giant Crayola Flakes box for the show, and then he actually had the real cereal with like the weenies inside of it, selling cereal at our art show.
That's it.
And did you talk about the show we did in China?
No.
So much stuff, dude. This is the last thing I'll say. Is we did an art exhibit in China at a museum in Erlen, and we were just going from town to town, and they're introducing us to all the leaders of the town. And Erlen knows a bit about being a butcher, and it's like the working class hero artist. We're going from town to town, and he's like tasting the meat, and he's like, I think they killed this like right 5 minutes before we arrived. I can taste it. And I was like, so I think at one point I talked to the guy or someone, said, you don't have to kill an animal every time that we arrive in the town. Like, we'll just eat the ones that died like last week or something. Killing birds left and right for us. And we were at the museum, like they were like working us, man. We just did the show, and then I come upstairs and I'm gonna make art. It's just this fucking 50-foot table of blank canvases, and there's like photographers are there, and there's like make work for the permanent collection of the museum, and it's like, oh shit, dude, what? So I ended up taking some of my permanent collection away from the museum and dropping it off in Hong Kong.
Wow.
Using a different project with nude portraits, actually. How
did they commission you to do art for their permanent collection, and then you took it?
I just took some. I didn't. And another thing about the show, the exhibit me and Erlen did in China at the Wenyang Highland Art Museum, is they never returned our work. Our work just disappeared in China. Never to be returned. Never to be returned. That was 2013. That was literally right before I installed a painting in the permanent collection of the MoMA in between Andy Warhol and Basquiat.
SF MoMA?
At the SF MoMA, right before they closed down, I made a statement about like all this money in art history in general, and I made a painting that just said art history with a $sign as the S, and I painted over it white. I painted it again, painted over it white, and scraped it and did a few other things to it. And then I illegally installed it in between the Warhol and Basquiat painting in their permanent collection. And this video is like online, but the security guard comes into frame while I'm filming, and lo and behold, it's the same security guard that kicked me and Erlen out 2 or 3 years prior, when Erlen did an installation in their bathroom and then walked around in a Klansman uniform in the MoMA, and they called the cops on us.
Oh my God.
But this security guard walks into the frame, and it's like this moment where it's like he's a character in this play. Erlen and I will sometimes call it like a MoMA. It's like a franchise museum. It's like a McDonald's of art. So we just kind of make artwork that critiques the establishment, questions why it's important. And
museums are really, they don't make the money. And if you follow the money in the art, it's always these like 1%ers that use art as a currency and an investment. And then the museums are just kind of, I guess there's not a lot of profit in them.
There's a bit, they make a lot of profit. There's one thing that the SF MoMA did. Like when I was exiting the SF MoMA, I turned around and spray painted a smiley face on the outside of it as just like a little joke. But the SF MoMA, say an old person donates a painting to the SF MoMA, they'd think that the SF MoMA is going to like exhibit that, like this is like a painting from Picasso or some well-known artist, a Warhol, a Basquiat. The museum sometimes does not actually do that. They actually just go around and turn around and sell that painting and keep the money. The SF MoMA has 4 or 5 of my paintings in their collection right now, and they've been there since 2016. So even though I have paintings in the SF MoMA and my art was like inducted into the World Congress of Art History, I'll still sometimes like show up to like paint a mural and then someone will be like, pay you half or just like stiff you. It's just like a funny thing that happens. I think Erlen can relate to that too.
Art is intimidating to me because when I was in art school, you just see these rock star white guys that are the 20th century Led Zeppelins and Beatles of art, and their paintings are just crazy amounts. And I like that stuff too, but it's like, how do you reconcile that with just being a dude? You know, like say a James Rosenquist sells for millions of dollars and it's like, wow, that's a beautiful painting, but how do I as a person even contend with that? You know, it's so intimidating to me.
I can't remember if we talked about this in the other interview, but the thing about art is the people don't want to buy the art. They want to own something. They want to own the story. The monetary value of your art soars depending on what wall it hangs on. That could be like a wall in a gallery. It also could be a wall in a very important political figure's house. This guy, Matt Gonzalez, who's a patron of mine, he ran for president with Ralph Nader in 2008, I think. And so in a sense, like he, as being like such a great patron, has bought my art and resold it for the same amount to friends of his. And then in a sense, through sharing, through like friendship of other people, he's helping share the equal value of the work. And maybe that person one day will say, hey, I want to buy a painting of the same value. Or say, if I have an art show in Menlo Park, which I have in the Stanford area, people will walk in there and like, I won't say how much I've sold stuff there, but it's just like people go in there and they're just wanting to buy really expensive stuff. And sometimes I make art a concept like these are the bourgeois paintings. Like I'm making these bourgeois paintings for this bougie gallery, and then it's going into that house, and that to me is funny. And that's, they think that my style looks like that, but that's just a style that I'm inventing as a concept for that show. And some people could turn that around and go, oh, you're like selling out to make certain types of art. But I just make whatever I feel like all the time, and it just changes. And I don't really have a particular one thing that I do.
Yeah.
But as a team, me and Erlen, it's just like we're making an entrance back. We never left anywhere, but we've been around for, well over 10 years. And we're going to do another exhibit at the luggage store, I think in 2020, I think is the date. But that'll be like a good, like,
homecoming,
re-arrival, or some people called me and Erlen Warhol and Basquiat, but the Erlen just said recently, he said, oh yeah, you're Basquiat and I'm Warhol. I said, okay. I think, like you were saying, these white males and like history of art.
Yeah.
Basquiat was like a big kind of like leader for art back in that era. And he was like commenting about how, there's not that many like representations of Black artists in the history of art. And I'm sure Erlen probably mentioned some of that.
Right.
The dialogues that are created sometimes in this kind of like whitewashed art history are not things that a lot of like other people can relate to on my Indian reservation or in South America. Or it's like some people can't relate to the Beatles. They're like, that's not my type of music. I can't really relate to that life, or something, It's the same thing with art. And it just gets, like you're saying, there's just the white male artist. There's less emphasis, I feel like, especially in places like the MoMA, where it's kind of whitewashed. And we did that thing in the bathroom that he did, and then we walked around the MoMA in 2011. That video is online as well as his Crayola entity. Later, Erlen did a real performance at the SF MoMA, and they brought us into the back room, and they said, hey, when you did that thing back then, we were offended because, we feel like as a museum, we're very diverse, and we're sitting there in the MoMA, and they're serving people like Coors Light and Domino's Pizza, and we're like, wait, what'd you say? Is this like what your catering is for the SF MoMA? Coors Light and Pizza Hut? And this is like when you made it. Coors Light, and I don't even drink alcohol or anything, You got in there, and then we just thought that was kind of funny. They were offended by us. I haven't been into the MoMA, honestly, since I did that thing in there with the painting in between the two paintings. I've been trying to think of a new thing to do. But when I go in there, I'll have something planned that's humorous. It's all about bringing humor in there.
I remember they had a lot of that when the street art stuff started becoming popular. They started putting Joe Johnson and Margaret Kilgallen and Twist in there. I thought that was cool, but it seemed a long time coming. Otherwise, it's just...
Yeah, the mission school stuff.
Exactly. But it seemed like too late. I don't know. I don't understand SF MoMA.
It's true. It was a bit late because there's people like, Daryl Smith at the luggage store. Me and Erlen have showed with him. I think he was giving Barry McGee shows back in the day and kind of putting that out there as like a movement. That's like one person who has told Erlen and I and other friends of ours in the similar art making group of that time period that it was like, you guys are a movement. There's this mission school, you guys are the thing after it, and there's a lot of other stuff that's been influenced by what Erlen's done. But yeah, the MoMA, I feel like they catch on to it after a movie comes out, or it's the thing with art. Like a lot of big time art collectors, they only know Banksy as that guy that was in that movie. So when a film comes out about your work, it really contorts and controls and kind of molds the perspective of the art world and everything like that.
SF MoMA doesn't really have that identity of LA or New York where all the widely accepted modern art greats are all LA or New York. So I feel like SF MoMA has this kind of identity crisis, but maybe I'm wrong.
I haven't seen the new one, and when I went in there and installed that painting in there, it was kind of a reference to the SF MoMA used to be on Van Ness Street back in the day.
It did?
When it opened, yeah, and my friend Bernard, he actually installed a painting illegally in there, I think on its opening day or something, and he's an older artist and a friend of mine, and what I was doing was kind of an homage to that, but also doing my own thing for it. But I haven't seen it since they did all that remodeling. I thought it was kind of like a waste of money. I mean, the museum was fun, and that much money put into the arts in a big way into like younger artists or artists in need of funding, from less privileged areas. I imagine that much money doing like a huge amount for communities and, just boosting the ego of the museum curators to say, oh, we're competing with the New York MoMA. Ours is just as good now.
Yeah, it just seems like every name brand dude, like I said, identifies with one of the two big American cities. Even subconsciously, all my favorite, like if I look at my books, it's like Matthew Barney, Jeff Koons, Ed Arusha, James, like all just white guys.
Yeah, see, it's just perspective. Like, I mean, in my book of artists I really am into, it's just a lot of indigenous artists, it's everyone's own perspective. It's funny you mentioned the Barney guy, because I think the only other time I'd been in the MoMA I never really went to the MoMA, and like, the other time I went there, it was this Cremaster series thing, and it was like a movie of Bjork like cutting her legs open and turning into a giant like whale.
Yeah, I've seen all. That's not Cremaster. That's the other one, Drawing Restraint.
Okay, that's what that was.
My friend Eric, who I grew up with, and then we were in the same class in college. Remember, he got me high and showed me the Cremaster cycle in the video library, and my mind exploded.
Yeah, they're pretty funny.
I became crazy with that. I read so many books because of Matthew Barney.
I don't know that much about his work. I know he climbed around on the walls or something. I honestly, like, other than a lot of like dead artists and stuff, I don't really pay attention to what people are doing right now. I probably should.
He took like Richard Serra and Norman Mailer and then turned them into characters in his own masculine scientific world.
It's interesting, man. That is, a lot of times I look at art and I look at what people are making, and I mean, that is super fun. I wish Erlen was on the phone right now, because we used to just bash motherfuckers. We would just be like, dude, you'd be making like a song about how someone's artist statement was just like so weak, or just that artist statement mentality, or just like, not saying Matthew Barney is weak or anything, but just like this fancy fucking debutante shit. Kind of bring it back more to like a working class kind of like art for the people, but it could also be enjoyed by the bougie.
It is bougie too.
I mean, your coffin you made and your other art you've made, like sculptural things you've talked to me about. I mean, yeah, that can be, I feel like, interpreted by both sides like very well, and like very kind of like in depth. But some people, like I was just in Oakland the other night walking into an art gallery. These two women were on the street, and I was with my friend, and they were like scared to go in the gallery. Like, what's that? What's that supposed to be? Is that supposed to be? What is this? And I was like, well, just go in there. It's free. And they got right up to the door, and they just like turned around. They're like, no. It was a really amazing show. All Black artists in Oakland, like creating a really cool, like amazing curated exhibit with a lot of like energy and texture and statements and stuff. And it was I like shows like that. Too often there's just these themed shows about nothing or a movie, and that's cool for like movie poster art or whatever. But
what I saw at Cal Arts is people would just do, and still, because I still I'm friends with a lot of those people and they're still in the art world, but it's just all concept and no substance, to the point where there's no real visual impact, or you just can't identify with it because it's so academic that it's not fun anymore.
Well, that's like alienating the public from knowing what's going on. And I don't know if Erlen talked about that when he was speaking to you, but yeah, it's that idea where it's just this insulated golf course community. This is just for us, and you don't understand. The common person that didn't go to college, has a high school education, can't. They could. They're just not giving them the credit that they could understand fully the concept. Yeah, that whole shit, like that whole like idea or kind of persona of the art world, that entity that is that system. I like to just rip that apart. I like to just. My friend Tom said one time, I've quoted him in an interview before, he said, most artists, they're fucking wankers. If someone says I'm an artist, you're like, fuck off, like, someone asks me what I do, I don't just say, hey, I'm an artist. I say, that's like saying I'm a fucking human being, and we're all fucking artists. People just instinctually are creative, and people are constantly, we're suppressing our creative urges, and then we're trying to figure out why we're so upset. It's like, dude, you're just suppressing your shit. Yeah.
You know what it is when people they'll just do like a pencil line on the wall and then have some really complex explanation for the concept. It's like putting so much reverb on your vocals that you can't hear the words. That's the analogy.
Yeah, reverb kind of makes it like fade into the back, it doesn't come up to the front.
Yeah, you're hiding.
Yeah. Well, I can respect people's work if they have a big series and they have like an idea of what it is. And I just think anybody making anything is good, but sometimes people make some stuff with not much effort. They want like a ton of respect for it. They want the common person to come off the street and just go, wow. You don't have to make something so visually like stunning that people go, wow. But I like to make art that a super old man or woman can enjoy, but also like a little 3-year-old kid would go like, oh, I get it. Sometimes people are doing that, and then that's that disconnect with the art where the person comes in off the street and goes, I don't get it. That's why I don't like art or something. And yeah.
I've had this misinterpreted about stuff I do too as being superficial, or I think that production value is important. I want something to look expensive. You know what I mean?
Well, that's an interesting thing too.
I remember my sister called me materialistic.
Conceptually, yeah.
Yeah, because it feels like art, or even doing a really nice studio album, those are things that used to be so expensive and so elite that you would really have to be so intensely focused and masterful in your craft to even participate in that counted for something.
Well, you got to drop like $100,000 on just recording the album back in the day.
Yeah, like a Steely Dan album or a Stanley Kubrick movie. You know what I mean? Where they're heavy lifting, and I feel like there needs to be some level of production value, and it could be seen as materialistic, but I want that. It's kind of an American thing.
Well, the medium, it sounds like, is the message partially. And what you're saying, like with yours, like you want it to look that way. The concept of it is that part of the concept. It's not like people that there's a lot of people like in San Francisco and other areas are making art just for someone's living room. They're making it because it looks expensive. They're making it just to, I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm just saying there are people that, I just call it wallpaper. So you're going to make that, why don't you just make fucking wallpaper? You can have a wallpaper business. And to me, I'm not trying to insult any artists who are doing things, because I know it's not every artist in these publications. But if I want to like find art that has like a solid message or a solid meaning, I want to talk to someone like Erlen, talk to someone doing some art like that. I'm not going to open up Juxtapose magazine or open up. I feel like some of the art in there is just wallpaper, and it's just people copying people. And this kind of like San Francisco in particular, this like, oh, I'm so special, everyone knows my art in this little insular community, is a fucking message to you. Nobody fucking cares. You're super big-headed in your little fucking insular SF community or New York community. The world doesn't give a fuck. That guy fucking pushing a fucking plow with an oxen, he doesn't give a fuck about your art. And your ego needs to be fucking crushed, you know? And like, some of those people are influencing kids to copy people and to copy them just to make crappy copies. It's dangerous to create wallpaper shit art like that, because you're influencing kids and be like, oh, that's what art is. But art needs to be like in your face, working class, anybody, native futurism. I don't know if Erlen talked about like Afrofuturism, Afropessimism that he was talking to me about recently, but like art can just be like in your face. You have a problem, there's something going on in your neighborhood, in your country, in your state, in your county, make something and fight with it, you know?
Yeah, a lot of people just aren't in touch with that.
But yeah, I feel like what you're saying about making it look expensive is part of the concept, but there's another realm of things where people, I can see it when they just like, you're making it because it looks fancy, but right. It's because that final destination of it is when it dies in that rich person's living room. But I like what you're saying with the production value and making it part of the concept.
Yeah, you could take that the whole way and be left with nothing. You could take that too far for sure. And that's annoying too.
For you telling me that you're using it in the kind of the aesthetic of it, like as part of the concept is new to me. I like it. I make fancy looking stuff too sometimes.
My photographer friend, he said that he'll meet kids from rich families and they'll have all the, the airy camera and all the Cook lenses and all the lights. And okay, the production value is there, right? But they don't know what to do with it.
Yeah, it's a sterile crap image. They're not a Wes Anderson, who was a filmmaker that started with money that made incredible things. A lot of people, you'll see someone's film. First thing, I have a degree in film. The first thing I look at in a film sometimes when you see you've been trained in the Hollywood techniques, you're repeating the Hollywood techniques just as someone is copying that painter or copying that person that draws things or makes music. And you're just regurgitating it. You didn't bring your own kind of style into the mix and just rip it up and sew it back together and recontextualize it and make it textured and make it your own. But like you're saying, it's you have the best equipment, still comes out like shit. Sometimes you got to take the best equipment and fucking get weird with it. Stanley Kubrick had lenses from NASA that he manipulated.
Yeah.
And he took things and sculpted them. And so I had this conversation with someone the other day, anybody can make a film as incredible as Star Wars. Any human being can do it. The dude on the street some 15-year-old kid on the street, he could turn around and be like the next guy that made Star Wars or made Stanley Kubrick quality movies. But a lot of people, they forget their potential, and they forget like you can really shut shit down, or you can create shit so big that like a lot of people's response is like, no, I can't. What are you talking about? You can't do that. But anybody can do it. Not to disrespect the filmmakers, but anything's possible.
Yeah, I get caught up. I think I get jealous. Oh, George Lucas was probably a millionaire by his mid-20s, so I could never do that. I hate that I think that way, but I do sometimes.
Yeah, see, we're always comparing ourselves to people and their accomplishments.
That's the worst, man. That's poison.
I know. I thought, when I was like 25, I'm just like, oh, I should have fucking like 3 feature-length films done by now. And you know what? Like, looking at 35, like, I made a couple feature-length films, and some of them, the hard drive fucking ate my movie, and I didn't have the guts to go back and redo the entire thing. I just let it die. And I do have a couple feature-length things, but those things will happen naturally. We become too obsessed with people that got put on a pedestal. And the power that some of those filmmakers had back in the day, no one has that power anymore. Stanley Kubrick took his own Clockwork Orange out of circulation because people were hurting themselves in Europe against the studio. He said, I'm taking my film out of circulation. It's not about the profit. It's about people not hurting people. Like the studio would probably be like, oh, it's selling good. Like, keep putting it out there. No one has that power, but they could. They wanted to.
Yeah, the art world is crazy. This is inspiring, though. I'm going to remake those some of the pieces that got lost in that storage unit. Yeah,
I'd like to talk to you about the bronze sculptures.
Yeah, I started on that. I made the positive out of. There's a store in Berkeley because there's the Berkeley Foundry, which is the Bay Area place to do it at, and then there's another store that's specifically for that. I forget what it's called, but yeah, I made the positive out of the styrofoam and the clay, and I talked to the foundry and realized that I don't have the extra dough to do it.
Yeah, I definitely want to. If you get further along in that, I want to learn that process. My friend Anthony in Australia, he was like, check this out, mate. And he like took his bronze sculpture and he just throws it across the room and just bounces it off the ground. He's like, it's fucking indestructible. It's fucking indestructible, mate. Like, I was like, oh yeah, damn, dude, just throw that fucking hand across the room, smash it.
Yeah, my favorite is the Brancusi head. Do you know that?
What is that?
Brancusi, he was one of the pioneers of bronze stuff. It's just a woman's head. I always liked that. I have his book on my shelf. That was my bronze thing because I like Brancusi a lot.
That's cool, man. Have you thought about making a book of your own art? Yeah, books are important. I mean, you have a lot of stuff. You can gather together enough shit through hard drives and things you've made in photographs, probably just to make a book. Feels good.
Are you going to do that?
I've made a couple books, but
I didn't know that. Sorry.
No, it's all good. Not like the novels or anything, but one of them I made
a catalog, raison d'etre or whatever they call it.
What is that?
The official volume documented pictures of someone's work.
That's cool. I haven't heard that phrase.
They're super expensive to get the real ones, but what do they call it?
I made a book in 2011 of my work, Olin's work, a couple friends of mine. I created kind of like a solid book format. Eventually made 10, and I brought the original copy of the book to New York and showed it to some people, came back, and it was just called Me and My, a little like underlined blank. It's like released during a show that we did called that.
A published book?
Not published, just self-made, self-released. It existed in my hands and in the 10 hands of people that bought the book. That was me creating it on my own, and not a zine or anything like that. It was just like a thick-ass book of a lot of years of work, and kind of just documenting it with my friends and just threw it together haphazardly.
You know, a lot of times people, I know I do, I don't give credit to what's going on around me like I should. And you're so good, Spencer, and you're inspiring.
Oh, thanks, man. You're hella inspiring, man. I've never made anything half as cool as a fucking coffin you made, dude.
Come on.
That's a fucking incredible coffin. I want to lay in it. I want to sleep in it.
Yeah, that's the thing, too, because I put so much effort and money into that project, and the whole time I was thinking, if you build it, they will come, sort of thing.
Yeah.
And that
they still will. Sometimes it takes longer.
What's that?
They still will. Sometimes it just takes longer.
Sometimes it takes longer, yeah. Right. Yep. I know.
You never know what you make and where it can end up, you know? It's making some random fucking paintings in Canada, and then now just some... I wasn't even going to show them to this collector, and he's like, oh, I love those. And I was like, I was not even trying to like show them those paintings in the roll. I was like, oh, you like this shit? I'm like, okay. You build it, they will come.
It's out there.
They'll come like the children of the corn to lay in your coffin.
Somebody hit me up. They bought the record out of the dollar bin at Amoeba, and they were just raving about it.
That's dope.
It made me super happy.
Dude, I've been going into Amoeba to buy out some of the copies of the album that I designed recently, and I've been telling them to order more. So I'm saving for a time capsule, you know, because it's on vinyl as well. Like you release yours on vinyl. This artist, The Grouch, released it on vinyl. When I bring records into a record store, it's like an art gallery now. You know, it sits up there in the new releases, and it's kids hear the music and visually see the art, and then later, like 10 years later, they're like, I wonder what was that album cover about? You know,
I know.
Yours has your coffin on it.
In 200 years, someone will dig it up from the ruins after the tidal wave hits Los Angeles. It's my little time capsule.
It'll be in the back of a Cessna, sunken, like the plane you flew over SF. You know, there's a Cessna, right? That plane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's funny. Yeah, it just kind of lives there. I got to get the rest of the copies out because I'll lose interest in it, and then I'll remember like, oh yeah, I should go throw some more in the dollar bin at Amoeba, just so some random person can find it. Send more to my friends, mail more to my family members.
Yeah, give them to people that you forgot to give them to, and also you can have like the little package for people that buy this art piece. Everything must go. You get a record too, and like an infomercial, like a funny, like conceptual, funny video of like you doing an infomercial with your record, but it's like a fine art video. Buy this record right now. $199, $299. If you dial like after 5 p.m., it's fucking $100. Do something like that.
Well, there's only 250 of them made, so that's.
I got one.
Don't take less than 100 for it.
No, I am not selling it. I think you even signed it.
If you sell it for 100, I'll give you another free one.
I'll just do a one-man distribution team. I'm not going to say exactly what I'm going to do, but there's a format of a tape, a CD, a record, and I've got a lot of unreleased music, and I'm inventing a new format. So it's not some digital thing, but maybe it could be digital, but it has to do with the sculpture. It has to do with bringing like music into a fine art realm and very limited quantities. You know, maybe just one copy of an album. I'm afraid someone's going to steal my idea if I talk about this on the.
Is this like a Wu-Tang thing?
No, not the Wu-Tang thing, not a record thing. I'm talking about inventing a new format because nowadays people just have files, hard drives, and internet. So something requires no internet, something requires no files, but I'm inventing a super limited quantity format that doesn't exist. It's on a tape, it's on a CD, it's on a record, it's on a file, it's on a hard drive. You'll see it. I've told friends about it, and they were like, oh man, that's a good idea. I'm going to steal that. And I'm like, oh damn, I told you.
I do that too. I don't tell people stuff until it's, yeah. I do that too.
Yeah, Erlen's like that too with his paintings.
I can't imagine, what are you going to handwrite on manuscript paper, a sonata or?
Oh, you want to know what it is?
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Well, we could edit this out, right? we should do a funny thing where you like, bleep, bleep. And I'll just, I know Banksy's last name right now. I can like say it, beep it out or whatever. Almost don't even put that part in there. So I don't want anyone to. Yeah, I don't want anyone to kill me or something.
That would be bad. Yeah, I've gotten in trouble on this show before, so.
Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble or have anyone kill me. But what was I gonna say? So I mean, we could bleep this out. So I'll just tell you. You could just edit together in a funny way.
All right. Or my phone will die. My phone will die right before you say it.
Yeah, here's the last thing we say. So I'm trying to release musical sculpture.
I fucks with it.
Yeah, musical sculptures, right? Like those little monkeys that smash like things together. My new album is this monkey smashing shit.
I'm probably gonna think of 100 more things after we get off the phone, as that's what always happens.
That's dope. Let's make a 12-hour podcast. We'll get Earl back.
I'm trying to mix it up. Yeah, I want to do
the longest podcast ever made. But 58 hours.
You know that guy Mac DeMarco, this singer?
I'm not familiar with him. I've heard of the name. I don't know what he looks like or what it sounds like.
It just made me think of that. For his new album, he made this secret YouTube channel that was just like security cameras in his studio. And he would just live stream all the time. So there would be just the weirdest live streams. Nobody knew about it until months later. Yeah, just like an 18-hour live stream of his girlfriend asleep and just weird stuff.
People get too digital nowadays with their art. You know, it's something that you should check out, Cam. It's really crazy. Type in black balls in reservoir. There's like 96 million black balls in this reservoir in LA.
I've seen that.
You've seen that? Yeah, I was like tripping. I was like, what the fuck is this?
It's some kind of water preservation.
Yeah, it stops this bicarbonate or whatever forming. But also, it's for stopping like birds migrate. They only last 10 years, so after 10 years, all these balls are like. And then you talk about BPAs in the water. Just watching the shit, they put like chlorine in the water. Don't drink the water in LA.
I know. I've been listening to Father John Misty lately. He has this one song about LA, and the lyrics go, "If you need ecstasy or birth control, just run the tap until the water's cold."
Oh, fuck. Yeah, I'm scared of LA water, man. And air.
It's so weird here. Like last night, there was just this really weird energy. I went outside around 2 a.m. and there was just the weirdest energy. It's just, I think it's the desert or something. There was a guy just screaming. It sounded like an impromptu Death Grips performance in the street. Just some black guy going off nonsense like he was about to kill somebody. And then halfway down the block, there's a girl, no one else around, pretty nicely dressed, sitting in the middle of the sidewalk crying. And I walked around her, just weirdness.
I guess certain places have certain energies on them, like in the motherfucking earth, and I think humans walk across them and like affects them. In certain areas are like that. I was on Mulholland Drive back in LA, and it was
spooky.
Weird. It was like David Lynch shit. And I was like, there's something wrong. I think he knows too.
Oh, you're cutting out.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, good. Yeah.
Flip phoning. This is from a flip phone. Flipphone.com. Get your flip phone today. Yeah, I don't know if you can hear me or if it's chopping up. That's probably not good promotion for my flip phone company.
No, I got that one loud and clear,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna... I'm starting a flip phone company just as a detox for people who want to do it like 1 month at a time, because I didn't have a phone for a year and now I have a flip phone, and I talked to like 2 people on it, and you don't look at all this shit. It's so fucking poisonous for your brain to dissect that many images all day. I look at nothing but the real world all day. When I come home, I watch a film, send an email. Phone is just like dial numbers like do beep bop boop bop beep.
Mine's just smashed up. I can barely see through the screen.
I stole that last sound effect.
Sounds like a Scientologist. Sounds like what they say to each other. They go beep boop beep.
A really cool person made the sound. It's beep bop boop.
Oh.
They say it to people when they walk by. It's this anonymous person I'm saying. They say it to people when they see people on their phone. Someone I know, they just go beep bop boop. It's really funny. Dude, I painted horses today, man. You talked to Erlen. I wish I could hear Erlen's voice. It was really good hearing your voice, man. Is there anything else you want to say for this time?
No, we're good.
I'll make that 58-hour podcast, right?
This is epic. I'm so glad we did it.
Okay, we're going to hit that 58-hour mark marathon. I'll send you some music that I made today. Because I need those little interludes and stuff.
All right.
I'll email you some. I'll just email MP3s. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Because the waves are like fucking 95 megabytes.
Yeah, I can make it work.
All right.
All right, let's hang out.
All right, cool. All right, let's hang out. Good talking to you, Cam.
Take care, Spencer.
All right, peace.
Bye.
Later.
You've been listening to the Cameron and Dare podcast made by me, Cameron and Dare. You've been listening to the Cameron and Dare podcast made by me, Cameron and Dare. Thank you to Spencer. As always, this show is on Patreon. Just get involved. Like, whoa, there's a doggy. Get a doggy. Thanks for listening.